Hello and welcome back to the Lamenters, our devious Lamentations of the Flame Princess campaign. Where we left off last session, the party had ventured down into the cellars below the Cursed Chateau and had found the wine cellar, the alchemy lab, a storage room, a door leading to a mysterious, earthy smelling, cavernous, cave-type labyrinth. And then at the end of the hallway, a door that was opened, and they found Kail, one of the two footmen, who answered the door, looking quite different from how he looked during the day, bearing a huge gaping open wound from some kind of bladed weapon on his head, looking like death slightly warmed over. And it was for and of this reason that we are now going to enter initiative. So I need everybody to roll a d6. And don't add in your dexterity modifier or anything like that. Does anyone have a 1? All right, who has a 2? Raise your fingers for a 2. Yay, okay, fantastic. So Bane, you're so caught off guard by the hideous, disfigured appearance of what may be some kind of ghostly, you're not sure if he's physically there or just a ghostly apparition, but Kail definitely looks terrifying. Frozen for a moment, Claude, right behind him, you are filled with an urge to act. What do you do, Claude?
I'm going to try and make my way past and just attack the Miguel.
All right, what is your weapon of choice?
My regular sword.
Okay, that is appropriate for the tight space in this hallway. So you kind of like shove sort of to the side of Bane and thrust forwards with your short sword. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
18.
That is a hit. Give me the damage.
Short sword, that's the D8. It's 5 damage.
5 damage to Kail. Okay. Kail gasps in pain, and you attain the realization that he is a physical form. When your blade goes into him, you do not see like red blood as you would expect to see from a normal wound. Instead, it looks very dark and it's very thick.
And do I now start to realize and see him as a more healthy, normal person rather than like the 8 was all ragged?
You feel like he is not alive, but he's also not dead.
Okay.
That is the beginning of your understanding. Bane, you are shocked into action as you see, like kind of thrusting over your side and over your shoulder, you see Claude come through and cut into Kail. What do you do, Bane?
I'm imagining that my great axe is too large to swing in here. So I am going to thrust up butt first and try to crack Miguel under the chin.
Excellent. Make that attack roll. On deck is Oldrad.
24.
That's a hit.
5.
I want you to make a strength roll under, which means there are degrees of success. So the lower the roll, the more effective this will be.
Okay, my strength is an 18. Here we go. I got an 8.
Okay. When you hit Miguel, you shove, and you hit him so hard that he falls back like 5 feet into the room beyond him.
That should open the window for someone to take a mighty attack.
Now, he doesn't seem like dead, but you have knocked him back 5 feet onto the floor.
Does that make him vulnerable to the next attack?
Well, it could be. So, Oldrad, you see this opportunity, and if you were to shove through, you can probably use half your movement to get into the room and then make an action, an attack.
Yeah, that was my plan. I was going to just drive through and just shove him into the other room and then start swinging.
All right, so you kind of shove past your comrades. There's a little bit of a bottleneck.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say you basically use your full movement to go into the room. But now you're in, you're clear, you have space to swing. What weapon are you using?
The greatsword. What do I see initially at a glance?
So the room is very large. It's the size of the great dining hall.
Oh.
And again, at a glance, I'm not going to go into deep description. It looks like a very dank kind of cellar room. They're like just basics, like bricks, like foundation bricks, nothing fancy decor-wise. You do see a number of cots, like simple wooden framed cots with like layers of bedding. You see some very crude furniture and some shelves. So it looks like some kind of living quarters.
Okay.
You also see 2 other people. But let's go ahead and make that attack roll first.
Okay. Greatsword. That is, let's see, my stat sheet is open. My attack bonus, that's a 15.
15 is a hit.
And the greatsword you said is a D10?
Yes, so you're not wearing a shield.
Right.
All right, so you're swinging the greatsword as a 2-handed weapon. You
Yes.
can roll a D10.
10. I'm maxed out on that one.
Oh ho, indeed. Roll me a D20 and tell me what the result is.
Yes, sir. That's a 5.
All right, when you swing down, it's as Mikkel is like trying to get back up, and he's like, lifting himself off the ground. When you swing down, you sever his right arm at the shoulder, and it just comes off. Instead of gouts of blood shooting out from that, you see thick, kind of like almost like
Pulsing.
coagulated blood just kind of slowly spurting out.
Okay.
But it did seem to have an incredible impact on him, and he screeches in pain. Liber, seeing an opportunity, you could, well, what do you want to do? So Liber, you're kind of closest to the cavern hallway, but you could also use your movement to kind of squeeze past your allies into the room if you wanted.
Muted.
Muted.
I want to try to get into the room. Would I also be able to attack or just get in?
You could get in to attack if you're engaging Mikkel, because he's 5 feet into the room.
I want to get in and just take a swing at him.
Okay, so it kind of takes, again, sort of like Oldrad, you have to squeeze past your allies as they're going in and moving. You kind of surge in, you get up to Mikkel, you see that his right arm is just laying on the ground, blood squirting out of his, the stump of his shoulder, and you can attack.
I got a 3. I'm swinging at his body just to see if I can get anything.
You do. You swing at his body, and it kind of clips like his uniform, like along the side, but it doesn't seem to actually pierce his flesh. Leonard.
Okay, so I assume that the door are cramped right now, so I would in the front.
Yes,
So-
you could like use your movement to surge forward, but at where you're at, you wouldn't be able to get an attack in until
Yeah.
next round.
So the closest door to me are to the cavern right now.
You could move into the cavern, or you could go back into the storage room.
Yeah, I will just enter the cavern door and prepare to stop anyone who would be around with the sword which I got in the armor because my crossbow is broken. So
Okay,
I will stay. I will stay.
you're just stepping in like the first 5 feet of that
Yeah.
cavern. Okay, no rolls are necessary. Oh, you have a light source though, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Don't you? You have the lantern. So actually, go ahead and roll me a d6 and tell me what you get.
6.
Okay, you step a foot in, you smell that like earthy, sort of damp, rotting smell, but you're kind of focusing on what's happening in front of you. You don't really take a lot of time to study what's happening behind you further into that cavern. Sarah, you're up.
Do I have a clean shot with my bow?
No, not even remotely. There's like 3 people in front of you.
Okay.
Now,
Well-
I will say, in full disclosure, if you want to shoot your bow, I am happy to make an attack roll for you. And since I don't fudge dice, I will screen share the result so that everybody can see.
Mel, I played Harnmaster. I don't shoot into melee.
Damn it! I was really hoping you'd let me roll, and that I'd roll 1, and that there'd be friendly fire. Okay.
You see, the thing is I was an army archer. Okay?
Yes. So you know that the odds are greater that you would
Mm.
commit an act of friendly fire on your already wounded comrades. Knowing that you have the same option or similar options as Leonard. You could duck into a doorway for cover, or for backup, or you could use your full movement to surge forward into the room, but you wouldn't be able to get an attack in.
Yeah. I will retreat behind Beat and say, have at it.
Okay, so you kind of step to the side. Is your bow still readied?
It is, but I'm going to take the rest of my movement and action to put it away and grab my sword.
All right, fair enough. So you kind of back up, you start switching out your gear. This brings us to Bivoj.
What kind of space do I have? Like, I'm right now wielding a spear.
Yeah, so same thing. If you throw it, I'm rolling. If you don't throw it, you could run forward using all of your round to get into the room, but you wouldn't be able to attack until next round.
Okay, I'll just run into the room and prepare myself.
Okay, superb. All right, the very wounded Mikkel lunges out, and I'm going to roll. 1, 2, Oldrad, 3, 4, Liber, 5, 6, Bane. All right, Liber, he's going to rake out at you, and you notice as he's doing this that similarly to some of the other staff, like Brixenda, you see that there's no flesh over the edge of his fingers. They're all bone, and they're sharpened. He rakes out and swings. Ooh. 18 plus 2. He has a total of 20 to hit you, which I believe is a hit.
Yeah.
For a enormous 6 damage. You feel the sharpened bone carve into a spot between your armor, and it just stings with searing hot pain. Which brings us to the top of the order. And now, Bane, you are up. Claude is on deck.
Okay, so just meta. If I grapple him and take him out into the main area where we can get at him easier, is that
you are-
something I can do?
You are in the main area. Like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you surged forward with everybody else. So you could tackle him, you could grapple him, either of those options, or you could straight up just attack, because now you have enough room with your axe.
I shall
I will
swing my
say-
great axe.
Okay, I will say that you guys in this large room, which I described, that it's the same footprint as the great dining hall. It's a very big room, but you do see Mikael's twin brother, Joam, and you see Estev, the valet. And you see that they're both kind of getting up from these cots and running over towards you guys.
With a swing for my great axe. A dirty 20.
That is a hit. What is the damage to Mikael?
4.
5 plus 5 plus 4. 5. How do you want to do this?
I shall end thee. And I swing my axe right through his skull.
In a twist of irony, your axe positions directly at the spot where you saw the grievous wound afflicting what you presume now to be the undead Mikael. And this time your axe sinks deep into his head, literally splitting it open like a melon, brain and old blood gooing and oozing out. Mikael he basically, his body twitches, but he is quite dead. Claude, you're up. You see both Joam and Estev running over towards you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna close the distance to the probably the twin. Just try and run him through.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack. So you
21.
you move about 10 feet north, running towards Mikael's twin, Joam, and you attack.
Yeah, that's a 21.
All right, that's a
50
hit.
damage.
How much damage?
7.
7 damage. All right, excellent. Oldrad.
Running up to the next one that's closest, and I'm going for a swing.
Joam or Estev?
Jump.
All right.
That'll be a 15 again.
15's a hit.
Oh, that just went underneath. 4 damage this time.
4 damage more on Joam. Okay, very good. Liber.
I'm also gonna go after Joam. I'm gonna see if I can just get a nice shot right in his center of mass. 14.
14 is a hit.
Eight.
Wow. Right on the button. You shove forward and you lunge, and your blade goes right through his heart, and he kind of shudders and falls forward onto your blade. You notice, like his brother, the blood from these wounds is not like a normal living human. It seems thicker and discolored. Okay, this brings us to Leonard. You hear, as your comrades ran into the room, you hear the sound of more combat happening. What would you like to do, Leonard?
Oh, did everybody run by me, basically, from behind?
Except for Sarah. You hear Sarah out in the hall, like you hear her like slinging her bow and arrows and pulling her sword out.
Yeah. I peek towards from behind the door and shine the lantern so they have more light, and possibly because they are attacking from into the dark space. So maybe to blind or at least like confuse the enemies.
Okay. So do you move into the big room and then hold your lantern? Or do you stay in the hallway, like from the door of the cavern?
From the door
Okay.
of the cavern.
All right, so Sarah and Bivoj still have enough light. Sarah, you are up. What do you do?
I look over at the big room and I think, too much there. I'll just back up Leonard, and I step behind Leonard. I don't have my candle anymore.
So you're all right. So you're going to go in with Leonard into the cavern hallway.
As far as I can. I know it isn't too far.
Okay. Roll a
Just
d6.
stand at the door.
Roll me a d6.
D6. Okay. All right, here we go. That's a 2.
Okay. As before, you get that smell of kind of an earthy smell mixed with a little rot. You notice from the light from Leonard's lantern that this cavern hallway kind of goes about 15 feet down, and then it turns off to the right, and the walls go from like, brick and mortar, like man-made walls, into straight up like cave, like natural rock cave walls. And you notice that at around the point where it curves, you see that the floor is just literal dirt, and it seems damp. Not like dry, dusty dirt, but damp dirt. And you even see like some moss on the cave walls, and you see like mushrooms growing on the ground, like little baby mushrooms kind of along the edges of where the walls meet the ground.
Hey, Leonard, this might be the way out.
As you say that, we go to Bivoj. You're up.
Can I go further into the room?
Yes.
And attack anybody?
Yes, you see Estev.
Yes.
Estev, the valet, who's a big dude. You see him running towards your comrades just after they finished off the other twin. You see Estev is running towards them, and he looks like he's about to attack.
Can I press the attack on him and still do like cold shot?
I don't know if that would cancel. So with a press, you get a +2 to hit.
Yes.
But making the called shot subtracts 2, so that would cancel.
Yes.
All right, what is your called shot? What are you trying to hit?
I'm trying to like stab him with a spear, like at his chest bone, like above his chest bone, like here.
Okay. All right, make a straight roll with no bonuses.
Oh, that's bad. If I add my melee AB, it's just 7.
Okay, so you run forward with the intent to kind of like run him through with your spear, and he kind of turns, sort of pivoting sideways, and you sort of lunge past him, and he comes in towards your allies to make an attack, to rake through. The question is, who will he attack? 2, 3, 4. Bane. Bane, I need you to make a strength roll under.
4 under 20. Or 18, sorry.
Okay, so That is not enough. So basically, Estev tackles you to the ground, and then he bites down at an open spot of flesh. The bite does 2 hit points of damage, but you need to make a saving throw versus paralyzation, which for fighters, let me look this up real quick. You're a level 3 fighter, so you need to roll a 14 or higher.
Come on, don't fail me now. 8.
Okay, so he takes a bite out of your flesh, and something feels very wrong. Like you immediately feel something coursing through your veins, and your muscles locking up. You are temporarily paralyzed.
Shit.
For 11 rounds. Okay, back to the top of the order. Claude, you are shocked as you see Estev, who's a big dude, just literally tackle Bane, who's a bigger dude. Tackle Bane and take a bite out of his flesh, like a dog eating some meat.
Mm-hmm. I go up behind him and just try and run him through his back.
Okay, make your attack roll.
That's a dirty 20.
Okay.
Just 1 hit point.
1 damage. Got it. All right, Oldrad, you're up. Liber, you're on deck.
Coming in with the great sword. That is a natural 20 on that one.
Yes. All right, roll me the damage.
5 on the die.
That is 15 to 17. Okay. You take an enormous chunk out of like the torso of Estev and gouging out this huge chunk of flesh. His blood also very kind of sickly, thick, gooey kind of blood. This brings us to Liber.
Alright, so I just stabbed Joam. Now my sword, my rapier, am I clear to pull it out and just take another swing?
Yes. So what you would do is you pull your sword out of Estev. He drops to the ground, not moving. You run 5 feet over, and you can attack Estev, who's basically on top of like Bane, trying to like eat him.
All right, so I'm gonna try to take a sideways shot at his head, so I can like clip it off. As I see it, he's biting Bane, and I a 6.
You swing down, but the rabid, bestial Estev kind of was like rolling around, fighting with Bane as Bane's muscles are locking up in paralysis. Leonard, back to you. You're in the hallway with Sarah. You guys hear a lot of combat going on and a lot of like shrieks of pain.
Yeah, so since everybody almost ran forward, I assume they pushed more into the room.
Yeah, they're all in the room. In fact, you don't even see them. Like, if you look down the hallway through the open door, not only did they move into the room, you see the dead body of Kail, but it looks like they moved further into the room to engage in combat with others. You're not sure how many others.
Okay, I move a little bit forward and basically from the one door to the door they entered and shine some light into the room.
Okay, you see another body, which looks like the twin of Kail, Joam, and then you see Estev, the valet, kind of from the back, just rolling around, tackling and biting at Bane as your other comrades are trying to attack him. And what do you want to do?
Is there any room around her, like to get to her, or is
yes.
it like
with
okay.
a melee weapon, you could run up and attack. If you wanted to fire a ranged weapon, I would make the roll.
Yeah, as I said, I don't have working ranged weapon right now, so I try to basically, as he is, I try to take the borrowed sword and try to stab her in the back, front, whatever is facing me.
Okay, go ahead and make a roll.
13.
13 is a miss. So you lunge forward, and again, almost like a wrestler on the ground, he's kind of rolling with Bane in his arms now to avoid your attacks, and like making the move to bite down and eat more of Bane's flesh. This brings us to Sarah. You are the last one in the hallway.
Yeah, I don't have light to explore this cavern, so I'm going to turn back to the door and rush up as far as I can get. If I can get into the room, I will. If I can't, I won't. Just
you get into the room. You see the same thing that I described. About 10 feet into the room, it looks like your party is engaged with trying to stop Estev from eating Bane.
Anyone else in the room? Any other enemy?
Other than your party, you don't see anyone else in the room.
Objects of interest?
Of interest, not without further exploration. It looks like basically this is a very crude servants' quarters. Like you see beds, you see cots, you see like little end tables and storage chests, and shelving even.
Okay, I'm gonna run up and try to stab the guy on top of Bane.
Okay, go ahead and make your roll.
+7. Let's see here. Okay, that's a 16.
That's a hit. What's your damage?
Okay, that's a 6-sider. Get that up right here. Two.
Okay, you take a swing, you cut into him. He is still just like a rabid beast, just rolling around, biting. Bivoj.
As I see the guy, as I turn around and I see the guy on the top of Bane, I want to press the attack on this asshole's asshole.
Well played. Make the roll.
Okay, that's 19 plus 3, 22.
That is definitely a hit. What's your damage?
6.
You nearly impale him, like somebody would impale a pig at a pig roast. Hitting him in the rear, piercing into his back deeply, he sharply arcs up in pain, screeching out, and then rips out towards the people adjacent to him with his shaved razorous claws. Which could be good for Bane, because that means he's not going to be biting Bane, but it also could be bad for those of you who are adjacent to him. So first, I will roll to see who is the recipient of claw number 1. Our good friend Oldrad, who is very fortunate that I rolled a 6. Claw number 2, that's a miss. 2, 3. Our good friend Bivoj, who just had a strikingly powerful hit. Does an AC 14 hit you?
Me? No.
Very, very lucky. Okay. Top of the order, everybody. This brings us back to, well, Bane, who's paralyzed. So now we go to Claude.
Yeah. Well, I'm still trying to strike him. See what happens here. No, and that's a natural one.
Claude, you drop your sword. It clangs on the ground. It makes a lot of noise, attracting 2d8 hobgoblins. No, I'm just kidding. Oldrad, you're up.
Let's finish this off. Get off my companion. Nope.
You swing. Both, you guys are swinging. He is just rolling around, using Bane as a meat shield, like an expert ground fighter, just like pivoting, rolling around, clawing out. He's almost like protecting Bane, like a lion would protect a kill. Like he's trying to stop you guys from taking his meat away. Liber, it's up to you.
I'm going back in. Let's see what we got. And natural 20.
Oh! All right, roll me some damage. Roll me a damage.
5.
What's your weapon type?
Rapier.
Is that D6 or what?
D8,
What's
1d8?
D8 against? Okay, so he's not wearing armor, so it's definitely D8. You rolled a 5, so that means you do 13 damage using the Bill Allen damage alternative scoring system. Liber, how do you want to do this?
I'm gonna go try ear to ear. I want to go right through his head.
Ooh!
Nice.
With the thin blade of your rapier just goes through one side, jams out the other. Some brain, some ear, some bubbling, oozing, slow-moving, thick blood, and Estev just drops. Again, your blade stuck in an opponent. He drops dead. You guys look down, and I want each of you to make an intelligence roll under. This should be fun. Because all of you are dummies.
Hey, wait a
Not really.
second.
No,
No.
not everybody.
All right, tell me if you succeeded on an intelligence roll under.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the two people who are literate, you're like, because the rest of you guys look at Bane and he straight up looks dead. Like he's not moving. The other two are like, wait, he's not dead. You actually see like subtle movement in his chest, showing that he's breathing.
Yeah.
You, both Sarah and Leonard, you believe that Bane is paralyzed. And you
communicate that?
Actually, I'll be specific. How low did you roll on your intelligence roll unders?
5 of
under,
15.
7 out of 18.
Okay, so Sarah, you're like, yeah, I think he's paralyzed. Leonard, you actually are like, yeah, he's definitely paralyzed. And look, you point to the wound where Estev bit Bane, and you notice that everywhere around the wound, you see the veins, like his veins are like noticeably inflamed, and they're like a dark color.
Anybody has piece of cloth?
Would anyone like to
Yeah.
try
try-
to medicine Bane?
Yes, I would. I'll get him on his side so he doesn't swallow his tongue, and then try to clean out the wound with like a piece of cloth from my own shirt or whatever.
Does anyone have fresh water?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys take let's say a minute. You kind of clean out the wound, you bandage him. Anybody doing anything else specifically during this time?
I just step on the, let's say, back of the Estev and pull my spear out.
Okay. While some of you are tending to Bane's wounds, the rest of you notice that, like I said, the space of this room is the same footprint as the dining hall. you notice that south of you, you see a stone kind of chute coming out of the ceiling. And you see it opens up in a 5x5 space. And there's like a bunch of ash at the base of this. And you begin to think that perhaps this is the chute that led up to the fireplace above. To the north, at the far north end of the room, you see a set of doors. Actually, just one door. The door is closed. Looks like a wooden door. It is closed. And then in the northwest of the room, on the western wall, but the north side of the western wall, you see another door, which is also closed. As you guys are tending to Bane, after about 3 minutes, Bane, you see Bane start to blink. And you see his jaw move, and then his fingers kind of move, very stiffly at first. And after another minute, Bane, you have control of your muscles again, and you see Bane kind of start to slowly get up, sort of stretch out as if all of his muscles had been locked up.
In those 3 minutes, I think I'm just like, kitty, 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 kitty. That cat should be here somewhere.
I'm going to
Yeah.
be looking through the dressers and drawers and trunks.
Okay. So you see a whole bunch of very crude furniture. It looks like Lord Judain did not provide very well for his servants. This is all very rough, shoddy looking furniture. You see that each of the kind of areas has a cot, it has a end table, and it has a storage trunk, as well as a chair. And then some very crude wooden shelving that looks like it has multiple uniforms, sets of clothes, socks, undergarments, that kind of stuff. And there's a water basin kind of set between each pair of sleeping arrangements. And the water basin looks like each one has a big bowl of water. Sarah, you are searching. Go ahead and roll a d6 roll. Tell me what you get.
Okay. Here we go. I got a 1.
Okay, roll me a percentile.
Okay. I got a 35.
35. Okay, you're searching, and in one of the nightstands, you find a necklace. It looks like a silver chain with a silver jeweled spider. So the spider is a silver piece, and then it has small little gems in it. And the gems look like there's basically 2 red gems to represent eyes.
All right.
Who else is searching?
Well, I'm grabbing my my sword from the floor and going over to the doors and listen at the doors that are closed.
Okay. You listen by the doors. The door to the west, you don't hear anything. The door to the north, you don't hear anything.
Okay.
Bane, so I'll give each one of you guys basically a search check, just assuming that you guys want to search the room.
I'm actually searching the bodies of the dead that we just killed.
Okay, you want to do a body search.
And I want to grab the one that bit me, and I want to put my fingers into his fatal wound in his head and rip his freaking skull apart.
Okay, Okay, so Bane, you find on the body of a Stev, you find a pouch with
A phylactery.
17 silver pieces, minted in the year 893. Bivoj, what are you searching, if anything? Muted.
I'm searching for the cat.
Okay, you're searching for the cat. Roll a d6.
It's free.
You don't find the cat, but you see in the ash at the bottom of the chute, you do see paw prints that look like they're about the size of a cat. Leonard, what are you searching?
Okay, so after I would like to try after cleaning the wound. Is the cloth soaked with some poison or some liquid or something?
It doesn't. I'll give this to you because you had a very good roll. It doesn't look like poison. It looks like maybe Estev's had some kind of bacterial thing going on with his mouth, and that must have caused the paralysis.
Okay. So otherwise, I will search the first guy whose head was split in half.
Okay. You search Miguel.
D6, is it?
You find, roll me a d6.
2.
Okay. You find a pouch with 19 silver pieces.
Okay.
They are a mix of years in which they were minted, but most of them look like they were minted in the year, like years between like 890 and 894. Claude, you said you were listening by the doors. Okay, Oldrad, you are you searching living spaces or no?
No. So what I'm doing is, you said there was like some water basins somewhere.
Yes. Between each set of beds is a table with a bowl for water, and it looks like each of these water basins has fresh water.
I go to one of these water basins and I lean the great sword against the furniture next to it, and I just kind of like look over into the water basin, and like I'm damaged, like I'm at 15 HP out of whatever I have, and so I'm just kind of like leaning over, trying to like gather myself and make my prayers to the old god silently, and I'm just like kind of cleaning myself up.
Okay, roll percentile.
There it is. 84.
Okay, you successfully clean yourself up. All right, Liber, what are you doing?
I'm gonna start over by the cots and just like look through the cots and then just see what else, anything else I could search after that.
Make a roll. D6.
2.
Okay, you find by one of the cots, you're searching kind of a different area, presumably from somebody else. In a nightstand, you find a pouch with 23 silver pieces. And you find a small letter, like a note. And it looks, the script is readable to you, like, but it looks very vintage. Like the style of writing is more like something you would see from like a copy of the Book of the One True God from several hundred years ago.
Okay.
The curious thing about the silver coins that you are looking at, though, is that these were not minted in Avendia. In fact, as you're looking at it, it looks like these These were minted in the southwestern kingdom of Hazidas. Now the years on these coins are also in that same time range as the other coins that you found here. So like they're minted from like the late 880s to the early 890s, like 886 to 892, let's say.
Okay.
But they are minted from the kingdom of Hazidas. The note, as you were reading it, seems to be a message, like a letter, almost like a personal correspondence, like a letter. And you're not sure who it's from because it looks like maybe this was the second page of like a 3-page note. But it basically sounds like a letter being sent, asking how things are going and hoping that the accommodations working for Lord Jadane have been well. You do our family a great honor by taking on this role, and you know your service to our family will be remembered. You know, we hope that Lord Jadane will allow you to come back home and visit during the holy days. We miss you. So you're not really sure who it's from or who it's addressed to, but you find this letter.
I'm gonna keep the letter. And do I recognize the name Hazidas? Do I know like this area or anything?
Yes. I mean, in the Western Kingdoms, Hazidas is the furthest south of the Western Kingdoms.
Okay.
If you were to, like, the Western Kingdoms go from Drontaroff to Avendia to Hazidas. Those are the 3 Western Kingdoms. From north to south. So Hazidas is the furthest south. And you know as well that like the Western Church is connected to all 3 of those kingdoms, but that the seat of power of the Western Church is in Avendia. Okay, so you guys kind of take, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes to search bodies, to search the rooms, that kind of stuff, right? At a certain point, though, you have some choices. You could go back into the hallway if you wanted to explore that cave, or you could check out either of the doors that Claude is currently listening to and looking at. Both of the doors are closed and they seem to be locked. Who was carrying the key ring that you guys got off of Landry? Does anybody remember? Somebody has it though. I mean, you guys have that ring of keys because you used it.
I had it for a while, but I gave it back to whoever had it.
Okay, well, we'll say that you still have it. So.
Okay.
So what would you like to do?
Well, the cave seems like a way out. Do we want to explore it first, or do we want to continue through the manor? I try not to do that. I would maybe prefer to secure the way out before we continue on the rest.
If you say it looked promising, we should at least check it out.
I'm sorry, did I say both doors were locked? Only the door to the north is locked. The door to the west is closed, but not locked.
Okay.
I think we should clear this door that's locked first. Or go to the other 2 doors that aren't locked. I think there's less likely to be something dangerous in unlocked doors rather than locked doors.
I would check the unlocked door first.
Agreed.
Okay, you have a light source, Claude?
No.
Okay, you open the door. You see another hallway that seems to go for a really long time, but you can only see about 10 feet into this hallway. It's very plain, brick masonry, stone floor.
Any torches in the big room?
No, but there are a lot of candles. Every bedside, every nightstand has a small candle and a candle holder.
Grab one, light it.
Okay.
Oh, I've got another big tunnel here, guys. What do you think? Go through or check the other door first?
Let's check the other door first. Just look behind it.
Great.
I'm gonna close the door up. Well, I'm gonna keep it open. So we can better notice if anything comes down the hallway.
Okay. So you want to check the room to the one to the north that's locked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah, grab your keys.
You test out a bunch of the different keys, and you find that one of Landry's keys opens this door. You open the door, and there is a basically closet-sized room, and then another door. That door is also locked. You try the same key, that opens the door. When you open the second door, it opens up into a rather wide room. The room is about 20 feet deep, but it's about 35 feet wide. And inside of this room, you see almost all of the floor space is filled with different machines and contraptions that are specifically made for torture. You see a stretching rack. You see an Iron Maiden, literally like a coffin with spikes inside of it. You see a box that's surrounded by small holes and candles that looks like it's like a hot box. You see branding irons, you see cages, you see pillories, and all of these things are stained with like dried blood.
Any bodies?
You don't see any bodies.
Would there
But
be
on the
enough-
western wall, you see a series of hash marks, like 1, 2, 3, 4, cross for 5. And you see that these hash marks seem to be also kind of very old. The room itself is, like I said, the blood is long dried. It seems dusty in here, like as if it hasn't been used in a long time. And then the center of the room, surrounded by all these different torture devices, you see a table, and on that table is a book.
I'll go to the book.
Yeah, as you guys approach, you see that the book looks like the cover of the book looks like an old copy of the Book of the One True God. Like on the cover is the symbol of the one true God. Do you open it up and check it out?
I defer to Liber to open it up and check it out. But I'll stand over his shoulder with a candle that I have lit.
I approach the book and say a quick prayer for guidance, and I start leafing through it.
Okay, you open it up. On the first page, written over the writing of the one of the book, in like a crude charcoal, is a phrase, and a phrase says, "This book is nonsense." You turn the page, and you see a page which has a drawing of a man being flayed, like over the book. Like, so it's basically like somebody drew over every page of the book. And as you flip through more pages, it's just more and more drawings of different ways to torture people.
I pick it up and I just toss it across the room.
He was an artist too, wasn't he?
Foul creature, whoever it was.
Can I look through the room? Would there be like equipment which would make for hotfixing a crossbow? Like some strings or something from the torture?
Yes, actually, there's a device that has fixed strings that looks like it was used to bind people with.
Are they still like flexible, or is it like?
You could try. Roll a d6.
Okay.
Let's see how your repair roll goes.
2.
Okay. You could pull a string, you kind of clean it up, and you take a minute to restring your crossbow. From this room, you see 2 possible options. There's a open doorway. There's no door. There's just like an open hallway to the right, and then another one to the left.
I want to pick up that book again and turn to the last page that there's a drawing on.
Okay. On the very last page, you see the number 117.
Jesus.
Just in charcoal, 117. Make an intelligence roll under.
Okay. 20 cider, and it is. Nope, I was 3 over.
Leonard, make an intelligence roll under.
Okay. 10, which is out of 18, so 8 under.
Okay, as you see this, as Sarah's paging through this, you see the number 117. You look over at the western wall where those hash marks were, and you begin to count them up. And there are precisely 117 hash marks on the stone wall.
Oh. Well, that's a lot of people. Is this? I turn to Liber. Is this a usual number of pages this book has, or are some missing, or are some added?
It looks like some of the pages were torn out from the book, and it looks like he didn't use the entire book. He probably only used the first half of the book for these different torture drawings.
We
Can I
could
have the
burn
book,
it.
Sarah? Can I have the book, Sarah?
Yeah, just look at it here. Yeah.
I take the book and I see what's in it, and I'm holding back like look of disgust on my face, keeping it neutral, and then I take the candle I'm holding, and I burn the book. Start burning the book.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, masking my personal satisfaction of burning one of the books of the one true God.
Make a wisdom roll under.
Yes. Son of a natural 20.
Okay, the book lights up. It's old, so it burns really quickly. Liber, normally burning a book of the one true God would be a high level of blasphemy, like the kind of blasphemy that would get you executed. But since this book was desecrated, you kind of don't have any problem with Oldrad doing that. You feel like it's appropriate.
Yes.
So as I mentioned, there's a hallway that's open to the right on the north side of the wall, and then on the left you see an opening, but it's not a hallway. It's like an opening into a cave, because you can kind of see natural rocky formations for the walls and the floors. And from the flickering candlelight, it looks like something's piled up in this room to the left. Where do you want to go?
You mean that the flame is flickering like there's a breeze coming from that cave entrance?
Perhaps there is.
Is it
I want to take a quick
indeed?
look to see what's piled in that other room, in that other hallway.
Okay.
I'd say go through the hallways first, yeah.
You kind of you want to go to the cave room to the left or to the hallway to the right?
Hallway to the right.
Okay. You
Go through the man-made stuff first.
yeah, so this is another man-made hallway that extends about 15 feet into a small room that's about 10 by 15. The chamber's walls are carved from the same kind of stone that the rest of the basement cellars have been carved from. But you see that the walls have niches, like that are about a foot deep and a foot tall. Inside of these niches, you find a variety of different things. One niche has a pile of 5 robes, black robes that are folded up neatly. Another one has a stone statue. And it looks like the statue is of a humanoid, but with 2 faces, like a face on one side and a face on the other. You also see another niche that has another statue that looks like it's made of maybe like jade, because it's kind of got a greenish tone to it. And that statue looks almost like maybe a snake or a lizard. You're not really sure what the depiction is meant to be, because it's kind of crudely carved. Another niche has another statue made of a completely black kind of shiny stone, which you think might be like obsidian or onyx. And that depiction shows like a humanoid body, but with like a head that has like horns coming out of it. And then the last niche with a statue in it has an image of, it's like a gray stone, and it has like a what looks like maybe a frog or a toad. It's not humanoid. It looks more like an animal, like a frog or a toad.
Do these have any meaning to
These
us?
are like foot tall statuettes or full sized?
They're about 8 inches tall, so they fit in the niche.
Okay.
There's another niche that has a dagger in it. It doesn't look like the kind of dagger that you'd use for combat, though, because it looks like it's made from like bronze, and the blade is kind of curved. Another niche has 4 vials with white crystals in them. And that looks like it's it.
Question, Bill.
Yes.
Do I recognize any of these statuettes as like representations of the old gods?
That is a good question, if you would recognize that. Make an intelligence roll under.
God. I don't know if it's a pass. I have a 6 intelligence and I rolled a 6.
Okay. I'll tell you what, you're not sure, but you think there's a possibility that maybe some of those might be. You're not sure about the statue of the frog,
Okay.
or the black statue with the horns, but maybe the jade statue of the snake or lizard, and maybe the statue of the two-faced man.
I'll approach the statue of the two-faced man and just inspect it closely.
All right, you pull the statue out. You're kind of looking at the depiction, and it's carved, and there's a block on which it is carved from, so that it can like stand up without falling.
Yeah.
Right? When you turn that over, you see symbols carved into the bottom of it.
Yeah.
The symbols looks similar to the symbols that you saw on the sword and on the stone disc that you guys found.
Okay. I make that known as I'm checking out. It's like this statuette has the same symbols as the disc that we found in that cavern and the sword.
Maybe try to use fire on it. They all had.
I'll hold my candle close by the symbols.
The symbols don't do anything, nor does the stone. It doesn't react in the same way. It doesn't look like it's made out of the same material.
I tell Leonard there seems to be no reaction, but
but the script, the runes or the script seem to be the same.
Yeah, I'll hold on to the statue if there's no objections. If anyone else wants to.
I want to examine the robes.
Okay, you pull the robes out of their niche.
What kind of cloth are they made out of?
So it's a greenish gray hooded robe with a metal clasp. And the metal clasp is actually carved like the head of a frog.
And are they all the
five of them?
Are they all the same size?
Yeah, they're kind of. You'd say like one size fits all, kind of like maybe for like a 6 foot tall person.
And what does the metal in the clasp look like?
Like silver.
Okay.
So there are 5 of the hooded robes with the frog head metal clasps.
This is interesting.
Bivoj just don't know what robes are, or what those robes are. And those are... Sarah, are those like traveling cloaks? What are those?
To be clear, Oldrad, are you taking this two-faced statue?
Yes.
Okay, add that to your inventory. Is anyone else taking anything else?
Well, I put the robe on to show it to Bivoj.
It seems to be a finely made robe. Even though it's old, it seems to be in very good condition. The stitching is like excellent stitching.
I want to inspect the blade. I know it's ceremonial, but I'm always on the lookout for new blades. I need some butcher's equipment right away.
Okay, you inspect the blade. It seems to be made of bronze, so you don't feel like it would be good for combat. You're not really sure what the significance of that is, but it doesn't seem like the kind of dagger that you would use in combat. It seems maybe more ceremonial in nature.
I'll still put it in my pack just in case it comes in handy later.
Okay, so write down bronze dagger.
Would the robes be 5 items or 1 item each?
There are 5 of them.
So 1 inventory slot each?
Yeah. So who else is taking anything else?
I'll just take a robe.
Okay. Liber?
I wanted to see if because I grew up with the old gods. I wanted to see if I recognize any of this as well.
Make an intelligence roll on her.
Okay. 8 and a 6.
Nothing really strikes you as being like, wow, that's this, but you do feel like everything in this room kind of has maybe some blasphemous nature to it, like something that is definitely not that of the one true God.
Does any of these that you have like a pendant which would look similar to the disc, or is holding a sword?
No, none of the things in this room are made of the same material as the disc.
Not material, but symbolic. Like if
you examine the statues, under the base of each statue is carved in that same script, similar meaning.
Okay.
I want to take the toad statue and one of the robes. I feel like because it has the clasp of the toad, the clasp has the toad and the toad statue. I feel like there just might be some connection. So I just want to take it, see if it's useful later.
Okay, you do.
I'll take one rope too.
Okay, one robe. Claude?
I'm not touching any of this.
You feel like that your superstitious nature is serving you well. You just don't trust this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Okay, any last calls for things that you're picking up? All right. I mean, that pretty much sums up this room.
Was the robe made out of cotton or silk or linen?
No, it's like wool.
Oh, wool. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
like a thick robe.
Okay, good.
Can I
There's
inspect the
use
vials
for
of the
that.
crystals?
Make an intelligence roll for the crystals.
And by the way, was this a dead end or was there still a continuing door?
Nope, it ends in this room.
4. So I got it. 4 out of 6.
You think these crystals might be related to some kind of ceremonial usage. You're not sure if they're mixed with a liquid or if they're burned like incense, but you feel like the stock of them, the amount of them in the vials, is maybe something for some ceremonial purpose, but you would have to like kind of research this more extensively. The vials are not huge. They're maybe like 4-ounce vials.
It's not. I was thinking something from the alchemy. It's nothing from the. It's not related to the stuff in the alchemy lab.
It doesn't look like the same stuff as what was in the alchemy lab.
No.
There were certainly vials with white powder in the alchemy lab, but this is like white crystals, like large size crystals.
No. I leave them.
All right, having searched this room, what are you guys inclined to do?
We've got other spaces, quarters to search, right?
Sure.
Let's
And
check the other corridors.
there was opening into the.
Will we go back through the torture room to get back to the rest of where we're headed?
Yeah, or we can go through the torture room and go through the cave part.
Yeah, there was that other side in the torture room that led to some kind of cave, and you saw some stuff piled up, but you didn't get a closer look.
We should check this out.
Let's clear this whole area.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to the torture room and see if I can find a bone saw or a hatchet of some sorts.
Oh yeah,
Maybe a
there's
tray with torture weapons.
there's saws. There's blades, all sorts of torture implements, needles.
What's the condition of said blades?
They're
How
fine.
Pretty old.
Yeah, they're old, but they're not like rusty. They're functional.
I'm specifically looking for a hatchet and a handheld bone saw.
Okay, you were able to find those things.
Excellent.
Leonard, do you have any tools that we could maybe disable these torture devices?
I want to remind you that it doesn't look like these torture devices have been used in a very long time. Like all of the blood is old, dried up blood.
Still, this
Yeah,
is
you're-
blasphemous.
Yes, your choice.
Well, would be faster to set it on fire, but
Well, they're metal, aren't they?
No, it's a mix of wood and metal.
but
I think we shouldn't spend our time here. I think on the way out we should torch the entire building.
yeah.
Said like a true cleric of the one true God.
That
Oh.
sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, I wouldn't burn them before we leave, you know.
Plus,
could-
we're underground here with the burning smoke. It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be trapped in the burning house without a way out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
So
raise it on the way out.
let's explore the tunnel,
Yes.
and it's from the room behind behind
From
you.
the large room where the cots are.
Well, there's this
the-
pile of stuff over here. I'm gonna just flip through it with my sword.
I'd say we explore the tunnel in the torture room.
So are you going? So Bane, you guys wanted to go into the room just off of this torture room, the other side, the cave that you didn't check out.
I would.
Okay. So you have some light. You kind of look in, and you see it is indeed a cave. It kind of opens up, and there's like sort of outcroppings. The pile that you saw before, as you get closer, you see that it is about, at the center, it's about 8 feet tall, and it spreads out over a 20 by 15 area, and it is a pile of mostly bones with some clothing, some scraps of armor, but mostly bones just piled high. And these all look like human bones, skulls and human bones.
In its time, this has to be a grisly look.
There's a lot of bones. How many? Could be dozens, could be
117?
maybe 117. Yes, it could be 117 sets of bones.
Well, there are 1,020 bones in the human body, give or take.
Do you know that, or does your character know that?
I'm sorry, that's Marie. But
I'm gonna start saying prayers for the dead.
Interesting.
I spit on their bones.
I will also
Make
have silent prayers.
Both of you making prayers. Roll me a wisdom roll under.
That's actually good.
That's good, yeah. 3 out of 18.
13 out of 18 from my wisdom.
As you guys both, in your own ways, enter kind of deep meditative states of prayer, you both sense an incredible amount of suffering happened here. And you, whether you're certain of this or not, you feel like all of these bones represented people who suffered and were not guilty. Like they were innocents and they were tortured and killed and they suffered extremely. And you feel like your prayers to your respective divinities is at least an attempt to put these souls at ease.
Yeah. I attempt to I do that, and I try to absorb some of that suffering into myself.
You guys notice that to the southwest of this cave is another cave-like tunnel made of rock that leads southwest out of this main bone cave. And you notice that your candles, like the little bit of smoke and the flickering, kind of heads in that direction. There's like a draw.
That's promising.
I'd say follow.
I hope the open grounds won't
Have
be
we discovered
hunting
everything?
grounds.
Was it only the bones in this room?
You walk around, you just see the pile of bones. Do you want to dig through anything?
I'll move the bones around with the butt of my axe.
You move, you like kind of shovel away a layer of bones, and you see what looks like maybe an like a chunk of armor, and you kind of pull that back, and you see another chunk of armor. It looks like somebody perhaps took apart a suit of plate mail armor and discarded it here. If you spend like a minute digging it out, you could recover the pieces of the plate mail armor.
Does it look usable? Does anyone need armor?
I don't
Not
think this is
quite.
a good place to take armor from.
I'm not putting that on, even if I
I have
wish.
I have my own
Not
armor.
if it- Yes.
Is anyone else near Bane when he's doing this?
Yeah,
No, I said
I
I was poking through it with my sword.
Okay, Sarah and Bivoj and Bane make wisdom roll unders.
Ooh.
Hey, 2 under 6.
Let me see what my wisdom
Wait,
is.
6 is my wisdom, right?
That's too high. It's 17 out of 6.
No, I rolled way over.
Bane, as you dig out this stuff, you see a skeletal hand, and on one of the fingers is a gold ring.
I'll be taking that.
Okay, you pull the gold ring off. It's very intricately carved, and the band is solid gold. And it looks like something's etched into the inside of the ring, like an inscription.
Does
And you
look
hold it up.
anything we've-
And you're like, oh, there's words on here, but you can't read.
Right. No, I cannot. But does it look like any of the other inscriptions we've seen throughout?
No,
this?
it looks like the script of your of the land.
Can I see it?
Yes.
I'll
Take a
hold
look at it.
Candle up to it and see if I can. See
You can
what's
read
in
it. It looks like an inscription. It says, "To Petronil."
Petronium. To Petronium.
Yes, like the name is Petronil. Petronille.
Whoever that is, this might be his armor too.
Suddenly, the bones surge outward.
Ah, I knew it. I said the word.
Give me back my ring.
You see this. What you see surging out is not, in fact, bones. The bones move away as this gray, opaque kind of ooze shoots out towards you, narrowly missing your like as you're looking at the ring, narrowly missing your face as it shoots out towards you. Bivoj, and then Bane, and then Sarah. Bivoj, what do? You see this, like, basically imagine like a tentacle or like a pseudopod made of this like gray ooze shooting out towards Sarah.
I I try instinctively guard myself with the spear.
Okay, you hold your spear up.
Yeah, like in the means of combat, I would say I'm parrying the tentacle.
Okay, Bane, what do you do?
Does it seem like it's a solid substance, or is it
Yes.
basically like okay?
It moved the bones. It didn't just shoot out like a ghostly spectral thing. Like the bones actually moved as it shot out from underneath the pile.
I light the bones on fire.
With what? You have a candle.
Yeah, I have a candle.
That's going to take about 4.5 hours. Do you have any
Oh,
oil?
I have. I do have a flask of oil.
Would you like to squeeze out your flask of oil and light it with your candle?
I would like to squirt a little bit of it and see if it catches.
Okay, it does. There's a little bit of fire burning. Sarah, what do you do as this tendril swings out towards you, narrowly missing you?
I go, what? I drop the ring and I bring my sword up to kind of cut it from underneath.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Alrighty then. Let's see.
The rest of you become aware of this as the skittering sound of bone movement happens, and you kind of look over as you were about to walk down that other hallway, and you see that Bivoj, Bane, and Sarah have been assailed by some weird oozing tendril.
It's a dirty 20.
That is a hit. Roll damage.
2.
Okay. Claude, what do you do?
I'm gonna turn around and see what's happening.
You
Yes,
see
it's-
this large,
Shoots out.
long tendril swinging around from emanating, like it looks like it's the origin of it is from within the bone pile. You were about 15 feet away.
Yeah, I'm gonna run back up to it and try and slice that appendage off.
Okay, go ahead and make your roll.
Nah, that's a 9.
You swing and you actually hit it, but it's kind of like the blunt. You hit it sort of with the blunt edge of your sword, and it doesn't really cut through it. Oldrad.
Drop the candle and then go with the great sword. Big
Okay.
swing.
You run up.
16.
That's a hit. Roll damage.
That's 10.
You take a huge chunk out of this thing, and you sever off the top half that was coming out, and this weird purplish oozing blood shoots out of it, spraying all over.
Not me.
All over Bivoj, just covered in purple glue ooze. All right. That brings us to Liber.
I see this thing going on. I'm just gonna try to swing it with my rapier and see what happens.
Okay, you do. Make your roll.
10.
10 is not enough. As it's flailing around, you kind of try to whip at it, and it just whips back, your blade nearly missing. Leonard.
Is it like it's swinging from behind the pile? Is it still like adjusting? Does it look like it could be around, or?
You see that the tendril that Oldrad cut the end off of is still swinging around, like flailing, but you see other movement below the bone pile.
Okay. I fish out from my bag the flask of oil, try to throw it at it, and
All right, you take the cork off and you kind of throw the oil at the bone pile, like at the center where this originates from.
Yeah.
Make me a ranged attack roll.
Okay.
I just want to see how
5.
close you get. Okay, so you throw it at the pile. The oil starts like spilling all over the pile, but not precisely where this ooze thing originated from. This then brings us to this roll. Another tendril shoots out from the bone pile, this time hitting Sarah for 4 damage. You get slammed by this thing. Make a strength roll under.
That's a laugh. Let's see how I do. Oh, I did! Yay!
Okay, you do not get knocked back onto the ground. You manage to hold your position despite taking a brutal hit of force as the second gray tendril whips out from the bone pile. This brings us to, in fact, your turn, Sarah.
The fire isn't catching anymore, is it?
It's only been 1 round.
Okay.
There's some fire, but there's not a lot of fuel yet.
Okay, I'm gonna back up.
Okay, you back away.
Yeah.
You withdraw. Bivoj, you're up, Bivoj.
As I was a little bit surprised in the beginning, I see the second tentacle shoot out, and I just turn around my spear and poke into the pile, or somewhere around the entrance to the pile of the bones.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack roll.
Alrighty. That's 21.
That's a hit. What's your damage?
5.
5 more. You see both of the tendrils quake. It doesn't make any sound, but there's a whole bunch of shaking. So you feel like your spear definitely hit something underneath there.
That's for oozing me, bastard.
Bane, you're up.
I'm going to take my great axe and swing it to the center where the tentacles are coming from. That's a dirty 20.
That's a hit. Roll damage.
8.
8 more damage. You smash down. You hear the sound of bones crunching as your axe goes through, and then your axe hits something, piercing deeply into it. You guys see the tendrils both like whip out ecstatically and then just go bloop and fall. And the movement stops.
Please, bones. I want to see what this was.
You start to excavate, and as you move bones away, underneath you see this like 4-foot blob. And there were 2 more tentacles that were underneath the bones. So there's like a total of like 4 tentacles. It did not seem to have an apparent head or like eyes or any kind of like sensory features. You have never seen anything like this. It doesn't look like something that belongs in the world. And that seems like a good place to end this episode of the Lamenters, everybody. Thanks as always for tuning in, for liking and subscribing. And if you want to support more shows like this, you could join us on Patreon for whatever amount you're most comfortable with. Until we meet again, may the dice gods bless all of your rolls. Peace out.
Well, hello, and welcome to Billaden World. I am Wizzy, the Wizard. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. Tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.